Hello. Hi, I have come to Cynfal Falls in Festiniog. The purpose of today's video is I want to show you exactly what we sort of go through as photographers from from being out taking photos all the way through to the editing process, all the way through all that, and all the way to print. Now, print is sort of I'd say a forgotten art. I don't really know much about printing myself, but all I know is I absolutely love printing my photos. Now, I work with a independent printing lab down in Swansea, and he's got some absolutely fantastic, I mean, out of this world quality prints. Now, I've come here because it's somewhere I've wanted to come for a long time to take photos. I've walked here many a times over the years, but never actually, well, I say I've never brought. One of the very first shoots that I did with a person was here, almost in this very spot. Now, quite a few years ago, I either just left school or was in the final year of school, and ever since then I've wanted to come back, and I've not really got round to it. So today, here I am, Cynfal Falls, as you can see, all there behind me, and I've got this one photo in mind. So yeah, I did do a quick recce on the way down at different spots where I could possibly take some photos, and this, I think, was the perfect one. And what I want to do is I just want to head up there, just down onto, I don't know whether you can quite see it, onto the little rocks where the big log is down here. Now, the biggest downfall is I didn't bring my tripod with me, which isn't the end of the world, I don't think. It's just I'm going to have to find somewhere secure to prop up my camera. So I've got my Olympus with me, OMD M10 with all the kit lenses. I'm going to try and make it as quick as possible because the weatherproofing on the OMD is non-existent. Oh, well, on the OMD EM10 anyway. So I'm going to grab it out of my bag just here. I'm going to head down there, try and get the photo. But firstly, I need to try and find somewhere to prop up my camera. So yeah, well, wish me luck. So I think I'm actually just going to prop it up here okay, I'll use my bag to try and hold it up safe, if that's the right word to use. But I'll try and prop it up just here. I'm thinking, because the river heads back into the distance over there, I'm thinking of shooting more landscape mode, possibly with the 25mm. So I'm going to try a couple of different focal lengths to see which one would be the best one to use. So I'm going to try and compress that background in a little bit, because the problem is with the Micro Four Thirds, even though you've got the full frame equivalent, the Micro Four Thirds system still has the compression of the actual lens size. So for example, people say, oh yeah, you know, if you use 25mm on the Micro Four Thirds system, it's the equivalent of using a 50mm on full frame. So, which is true, but at the end of the day, you're still going to get the compression from the foreground to the background on a 25mm lens. So I'm going to be shooting with the 12mm, 12 to 42, which is the one that I've got. Like I said, possibly the 25, I'm not quite sure just yet. That might bring it in just a little bit. So if I put that 12 to 42 on, it's still going, that background's still going to look like it's a million miles away. So I might put that 25mm on just to sort of bring it in a little bit and just see how it goes. But obviously it just depends. I do want to get that background in there, I do know that much. So yeah, so I'll throw it on, hopefully get a couple of photos. I'm going to pop down there, get a little bit of a subject matter in there. Yours truly, and had a haircut specifically for it. But I'm saying that, absolutely so. But yeah, so I'm going to head down there, set up the camera, and see how it goes. So I'll see you in a sec. So I've got the 25mm on here at the moment, so I'm going to back that open. I'll sort of put you behind it so you can see what I'm seeing, and we'll try a couple of different compositions just to see how it goes. So yeah. So yeah, as I thought, 25mm isn't quite wide enough, so I'm going to have to switch over to that 12 to 24, which is the equivalent of a 24 to 48, 12 to 42, sorry, which is the equivalent of 24 to 100-ish, and try and widen it up a little bit. Now the only problem that I have got is this fence. Now I was picking up the fence in the 25mm. So if I have to go a little bit wider, I might have to get a little bit closer to the fence. So I'm going to have to pop open the bag, sort of try and get the camera as close as I can. I'm going to have to anchor the camera to the bag really with a strap. So really don't fancy it ending up in the drink. So because I don't have a decent app for remote shooting with this camera, because I absolutely love this camera. It is honestly one of the best purchases we've ever made. But because, but even though it's absolutely fantastic, the app for it is shocking. By far one of the worst apps that I've ever used with any camera whatsoever. So yeah, so because of that, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to turn the camera onto time-lapse mode, let it run, set it up, let it run, and then head down there, and hopefully it might work. We'll see. There we have it. I'm going to call it a day now, I think. I'm going to run back up because the rain's getting quite a bit heavier. And as I've mentioned, the weather ceiling on this OMD isn't great, so I'm going to have to get it sorted now, run back to the car, and then I'll speak to you then. Home. Right, so we're home, I'm fed, I'm coffeeed up, and yeah, so I'm just gonna jump onto the computer and I will show you my workflow from the very beginning, from importing them and how we edit them and then get them ready for printing. So I will jump into Lightroom and I'll see you there. Okay, so the first thing I do is I will open up Lightroom. I've already done that because my computer is running a little bit slow. It is a little bit old, it's 2013 this one. I have got a newer one just behind the computer there, but I haven't had a chance to set it up properly just yet. So yeah, we're back on this one. Open up Lightroom, like I said, which is already done. Then we will head to Finder, and I will find the SD card, which hasn't showed up, so not a problem. So if I could pop to disk utility. For some reason a while ago the computer stopped showing up my SD card reader in the side here. I'm not quite sure how to get it back. It's not the end of the world, I've just got to do it this way. Okay, so the first thing I do is I pop into Finder, which is just here, and I will select all the images that we've taken today. There's quite a few actually, but like I mentioned when we were on location, I had to put the camera into time-lapse mode because the app for the Olympus cameras are awful. So yeah, so we go to there, start a new folder, name it, so Cynfal Falls. Click, so new folder, today's date, which is 2021, the month, which is January, and the date, which is the 13th. Cynfal Falls _ landscapes, and there we go, so the main one will be in there. So double click on that, and then I'll do the same again, 2021 01 13 Cynfal Falls _ landscapes _ raw. So I will drop all my raws in there. So what I will do to begin with, so I'll copy that so I don't have to paste, type it all out again. So I'll pop into the raw file, which is just here, and drag them over straight from the SD card. And go straight into there. It'll take a couple of minutes to import. I prefer doing it this way rather than through Lightroom itself, because you have got the import dialog box which does pop up when you plug the SD card in, but I prefer doing it this way myself. There's no right, there's no wrong, there's more than one way to skin a cat. But by doing it this way, I find I've got a little bit more control over where all the files go and how we deal with them. So once that's sorted, what I will do is I will close the SD card file down, then I will head back just to here. So I will start a new folder, rename it to exactly the same, just put large for where I will put the large high resolution exports, and then I will do another one which is where I will put the small photos that I will share to social media. I haven't got the pleasure of high-speed internet here, so as soon as I start uploading anything it pretty much completely dies out, so I've got to pretty much 90% of the time upload the lower resolution to pretty much anywhere, obviously unless I'm sending it off a print. So yeah, so that's why I put all them there. So what I will do is I will open up the raw files, which is just there. They're all looking pretty much exactly the same, obviously because it was on the time-lapse mode, but then I will open up Lightroom, make sure Lightroom is on the library option at the top, select them all, and then I will drag and drop them in. So when I import it, I do import with the sidecar image, which is the JPEG preview that you see at the back of the camera. And the reason I do that is just to speed things up a little bit once the photos are imported into Lightroom. So it does take a little bit longer to import when you're doing it that way, but it is worth it in the long run. So yeah, so just wait on for that, and once they're imported, so it's just rendering the previews here quickly. Now, one good thing about the OMD as well is the files are a little bit smaller than what I'm used to with the 5D Mark II, so they do render a little bit faster. Yeah, there we go. So once they're imported, like I said, I'll discard half of these to begin with because I wasn't 100% happy with the composition. So all of them, select them, press X so they can be rejected, and then start back from here. So them ones, I haven't quite reached the camera by these ones, so they can go as well. And then right, so what I do with these ones is I will open them up to as big as they'll go, and then if I'm not happy with the pose, I will just press X to get rid of them. That one's okay, so that one can have 1 star. That one's okay. Don't like that one. Don't like that one. That one can go. Okay, keep that one. 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 And there we go. Yeah. So all of them can go. So now, so if I It's the 1-star one, so it leaves me with just... So really all I'm after is one photo. It is pretty quick doing it this way. So that leaves me with 15 just there. So all I want to do now is make them a little bit bigger again. And basically choose my favourite pose. So I don't like that one can go. I say don't like it, that one's not as... Oh, not rejected, sorry, my bad. So that one can stay as 1-star, so I prefer that one can go 2. So basically all I do is I work my way up throughout them all really. Some I'll keep, some I won't. I'll always leave the 1-stars as 1-star though. The ones that progressively get a little bit better, I will change them to 2. X and Y, so it leaves me with, where are we? It leaves me with 10 photos altogether. So I will pretty much edit one of them. I'll grab the loop deck and then I'll just go through them one by one. So all the exposure is the same. So once really I've edited one, I'm roughly in the same position. All I would need to do is copy and paste the settings and it should automatically go straight onto it. So I like this, up the contrast. Maybe not that much. Bring the blacks down. Let's try a couple of my presets actually. So if I go over to develop, 400H. Nah, I'm not a huge fan. So if I go back to basics, if I close this one down, history, go back to the very beginning. So yes, I'll start again. So just the exposure touch. Those shadows just a tiny amount as well. I like the blue, so if I boost the blues, it's a nice contrast against the green then. I know it's not direct contrast, but they stick out quite a lot more than the rest. So if I go to luminance now and change the yellow and the greens, it should darken the background just a touch. So boost the clarity just a tiny amount. So just checking whether I did an awful job on my haircut this morning. I did it myself. Obviously we're in quarantine, so all the hairdressers are shut. So, if I just straighten out just a tiny little bit, does it? Straighten it out that way. Yeah, that'll do. So that'll do. Shadows up just a tiny. Vibrance. I do like a bit of vibrance in my photos. Situations, temperature, so I'll just change it. Get a lot warmer, darken it a touch. Yeah, quite like that. Let's change the luminance, the green and the yellow back up, I think. There we go. So if I see how this will work. No, it's changed the water too much. It might work with an adjustment brush, but we'll get to that in a sec. So, yeah, so then I'll usually go into tones, mess about with the curves just a little bit, give it a bit of an S curve, flatten those blacks just a tiny little bit. That's a bit too much, I think. Just there. Still a bit too much. I don't want to do it too much because obviously if you do too much it's just too stylized. This is pretty much how I used to edit a long time ago, but I've grown up a little bit since then. So I still like a little bit of that matte in the shadows, but not too much, obviously. So after that, lens corrections. Let's enable lens corrections. See what we got to do. Yeah. Right, so that's fine. Do a bit of manual settings myself. Vignette. Okay. Yeah. Find the colours just a little bit off with it. So if I cool it down just a touch. Too purple, too green. Sometimes what I like to do is just send it from one extreme to the other, because sometimes my eye can settle on a more natural position by doing it that way. Sounds weird, but there's method to my madness, I swear. Too cold, too warm, too cold. Yeah, about there, I think. Move up the exposure just a tiny little bit. There we go. Texture up. So now I will close that down. Grab these. Adjustment brushes. Saturation. Literally just mess around with everything because no two photos are exactly the same, so it's quite nice to just mess about, try something new if you haven't tried something else before. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is open up our files into Lightroom. So I'll open them both at the same time. Just drag and drop. And yeah, so there's not really much that I do in Photoshop when it comes to the photos. I like to keep as much as I can in Lightroom, but what I do use Photoshop for is basically get rid of any distractions or anything like that. So I'll have a look around, and then I might do some more adjustment brushes, maybe add a little bit of sun flare and stuff like that. So nothing really absolutely drastic. So that there's a little bit too distracting for my liking. So just get rid of that. Get rid of that. Just spot on my face. Not that I'm vain or anything, but you know. But overall, there's not really much distractions in this one. That branch there is a little bit distracting for me. If I do this, and then just drag it over to maybe there. Nope. So I think I might have to stamp that one out. Go. That one there is a little bit distracting. So just little things like this really. Doesn't usually take up too much time. That one there. And maybe get rid of that. Just there. But other than that, it's all pretty clean. So maybe a little bit of dodging and burning, so I will add a new layer, fill it with grey, 50% grey, okay, change the blend mode to screen, not screen, sorry, soft light, and then brush opacity to 10. Yeah, brush opacity to 10, flow to 100, and then just go nuts. Well, not go nuts, like I said, I don't like to do too much, but what I find only using 10% opacity is you can build up layers rather than just pile it all on in one go, which gives you a little bit more flexibility when it comes to picking out more of the details. here, just enhance the shadows just a touch, maybe just a little bit in here. It's the only problem with days like today, because the light's so flat, it doesn't really pick up much. So if we, like I said earlier, if we had a little bit more mist or something, it could add a little bit more to the characters. Maybe we could do something like a new layer. Oh, not shift F5 for the white. Some people call it cheating. If I go gradient, add layer mask, and maybe do something maybe either way. Something like that work. Yeah, it could. That's not too bad actually. Not as bad as I thought. That's a bit. Yeah, I quite like that actually. Which I'm very surprised at, because I thought that would be look a little bit too fake. Yeah, quite like that. Yeah, I'll leave that there. Happy accident. I wouldn't normally do stuff like that because it usually distracts, and you can usually tell that it's not real, basically. But yeah, I'm happy enough with that. Yeah, I'll leave it. Get some details out on these logs. So I've just got to keep checking my my card and how much room I've got, because I came back to it just now. Thankfully, I'd noticed at the end of the last video that the card was full, and I'd thankfully finished in Lightroom, so at least you get to see all that bit. A little bit more. Change the colour, darken these just a touch, and I think we should be okay. A little bit dodging and burning on me. Maybe stick out just a little bit more. So you might hear that I'm going nuts with the keyboard at the moment. What I'm doing is continually making the brush bigger and smaller, because it adds more inconsistencies really, which is what you need, because you don't want everything too uniform when it comes to dodging and burning, otherwise it's going to look obvious. So this is why I'm constantly making it bigger, smaller, because it helps it blend in just a little bit more. So I think that's pretty much, yeah, so it's not really much there, but it's enough. So I think one more layer, and what I do want to do is fill it once again with 50% grey. Change that to soft light, I think someone's, and then change the opacity to 100, flow to 20. No, that'd be too much, I think. Flow to 10, and then just darken the sides here just a touch. Yeah, maybe a little bit too much actually. Let's change the flow to 5, and just maybe one quick run down. There we go. There we go. So this is it. This is the final one. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So choose all layers, Control Shift E to flatten them all, sharpen it just a touch. One thing again, I know I keep banging on about the OMD system. One thing that is really good about it as well is the fact that they're incredibly sharp considering the price point on the cameras. I'm not going to add too much sharpness to it. There we go. Yeah, so considering the price point, and obviously with the lenses all being the kit lenses and being the cheap ones, they're really sharp. So I don't really need to add too much to it, but just a little bit, just to finish it off for the print. Next time, if I was to do anything different, I would maybe add a little bit more foreground interest just here. So obviously we've got the leaves there just now anyway, and maybe shoot from the other side of the bridge, so we've got the leading lines of the logs going in. But other than that, I'm very happy with that photo. So get it exported and get it ready sent over to John, ready for print. So this will only be part 1 of this video. I will do part 2 as soon as the print arrives. So it's basically just going to be an unboxing, and I will show you what we do with the print after that and how we get them ready for sale. This one I probably won't sell because it's got my ugly mug in there, but yeah, it's pretty simple, pretty cool, and that's it for now. So I will see you in the next one.